Hey there, it's John with Bright Days Ahead, and I want to introduce you to hopefully a series of videos that we're going to do where when we run across interesting people while we're on the road, mostly full-time RVers, we want to help them tell their story. You know, a lot of people don't have the time or maybe the ability to go on Instagram or do a YouTube channel. So we had an idea to have Cheryl sit down with them, have a glass of wine by a campfire, and just have them tell their story. And the first one we ran across was at Medina Lake, just outside of San Antonio, Texas. And Cathy Tan is 66 years young, and she's on the road full time by herself. And we found that to be admirable. And Cheryl sat down and had a conversation with her, and it's coming at you right now.
Hi, we are Cheryl and John. We sold our home and business in March 2020 and set out to live life differently, traveling the country in an RV with our twin daughters, Brighton and Daisy. We believe the best days are always ahead of us, even in good times. Thank you for joining us as we inspire others to seek the bright days ahead. Well, Cathy, we pulled in the other day and met you as our first friend, and you were so interesting, and I came up with an idea. I always like having a glass of wine, and you're so interesting, so I thought I would just interview you, if you don't mind, and kind of find out about what's going on and what motivates you.
I'm very excited to have a glass of wine. And
yes, well, let's get that started.
We'll get that started.
Is rosé okay? It's the simple
perfect,
life, which I thought was kind of reminiscent of RV life, right?
It is simple life.
Yes. So,
you know, and I was just so excited to meet, first off, your children.
Oh, thank you.
Your children just stole my heart, you know, walking up while I was feeding the deer.
Yes.
So,
yes, you are so sweet. Yeah, so we are at Medina Lake, not to be confused with Lake Medina Resort.
Correct.
And we are at Medina Lake, and it's kind of known for its deer, and we came across Cathy had, what is that? Is that corn?
Just deer corn.
Okay.
Deer corn. We have, you know, I buy 50-pound bags, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
So, and it'll be gone this weekend when all the kids come up, so.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. She not only gave us a little bit of the bag that was left that she was feeding the corn with, then she went out and got a huge gallon Ziploc bag of corn, and the girls went and fed corn today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Yeah, they really, really love the deer, and it's well worth it to give it to kids, you know, than feeding it myself. The kids enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, we like to say at Bright Days Ahead, it's not just a title, it's kind of a lifestyle, Bright Days Ahead. And after talking to you just briefly the other day, I wanted to keep it fresh. It sounded like you have had, you know, whether it's good times or bad times, you have really looked and had more bright days ahead of you.
Always bright days ahead. Since deciding to become full-time in my motorhome.
And how long ago was that?
2 years.
Okay.
A little over 2 years.
2 years.
It's been the most ideal lifestyle for me. No stress. And I've met the most wonderful people in my travels across the United States. And there's just, I felt like an anchor had been taken off my shoulders.
Well, now, Cathy, why don't you tell us, who are you traveling with?
My cat, Ralphie. My big over fat cat. You know, she's 11 years old, and it's just me and my cat. You know, I'm in a 38-foot motorhome and tow a car.
So you're alone, other than the cat, and decided to set out on your own to do this.
I did, and it was terrifying. When the first time I drove it like 2 hours, and it took 3 days for my muscles to calm down. I was so tense. Now,
oh my goodness.
You know, it was just a learning experience. But
so
now
have you ever driven or RV'd before? Or?
Now, in the 90s, we had a little 30-foot motorhome.
Mm-hmm.
That was easy. The 38-foot with a car behind it was a lot more motorhome.
Right.
And it's a lot taller. So, but, you know, I was determined that this is what I was going to do, and there wasn't anything that was going to stop me. And anyone can do this. I mean, it's not for everyone, but anyone that would like this lifestyle, it is for them. I love the outdoors, I love animals, I love hiking, I love people, and I've met the greatest friends of my life that I still have that I've met RVing.
Well, so what would you think is the number one like determining like factor? Like what was your like deciding moment to start on the road?
My deciding moment had been, actually, I raised 7 children. I have 3 children and I adopted 4. And 2.5 years ago, I got my youngest off to college. My youngest is 19.
Oh, wow.
My oldest is 46.
Oh, so a big spread. We have a big spread too. We have 25 to 4, so we share that.
Yep. So
no, 28. Excuse me.
yeah,
28.
20. Yep.
28.
It goes by so fast. But but I had determined that I had a big house, big 2-story house, taxes, air conditioners.
Because you were living in Texas, right?
Yeah, I was living in Texas.
So you had to run those ACs.
So, outrageous bills, all of the things that went along with that. And I see no need for that anymore. I wanted to have adventures and travel and do things. So this is something that has been on my mind for years and years. And when the time came, I was blessed. I put my house on the market and it sold in 3 days.
Oh!
3 days.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
3 days.
And it sold for 70% more than I paid for it.
Oh,
so
amazing.
It was fabulous. So it allowed me to get the motorhome and the car and everything I wanted to lead this lifestyle.
Oh, great.
And there's, I'm going to do it as long as I can, because I just love it. And, and there are a lot of people out there that are on the fence, but I really feel like that it takes a special person to want to do this.
So what qualities would those special people have to have?
I believe it's sense of adventure, but you really have to like the outdoors and exploring and the mountains and the lakes and hiking, because I'm real physically active. I like to hike and
yeah, you look like you're in great shape.
Oh, I'm in better shape now than I was before I bought the motorhome.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
Wow.
And it's from the being active all the time. I like to get out and walk. Day before yesterday, I walked 7.5 miles.
Oh my goodness.
So
I could learn a few things from you, Cathy.
But, I really like it, and I always have deer corn with me to feed the animals. And, I love exploring the little towns and little museums and out of the way places. I've done all the like Mount Rushmore and Yellowstone and the Smoky Mountains, but it's also really cool to go off into little side towns. I seen a sign and they said Chicken Festival, 48 miles. Oh, I'm going to the Chicken Festival.
Oh, now where was this at?
That was in South Dakota.
Oh, fun.
In a little town in South Dakota, and it was a chicken festival. They had all kinds of chickens and, and then they had, pies and organic vegetables. But, those type of things just thrill me, to find a new out-of-the-way little place. So.
Well, recap for us, like, where have you been? Or where's your, like, favorite spot that you've been? Or
and that's a tough one. I love Washington State, Oregon, the West Coast. And then I really liked Florida, adore the Smoky Mountains. My last trip to the Smoky Mountains, we were really over like the cities and the things like that. And so we took off on the road and we seen a sign for, it was called Frozen Head State Park.
Oh.
And it's in Tennessee. And we went there and we pulled in. And the bridge, each of us had to stand on a side of the bridge because there was only maybe 1.5 feet on each side to get my motorhome through. And then we pulled in a parking lot because we didn't think we could get into the campground. I'm glad we did. The rangers allowed us to set up in a parking lot at the trailheads for the night. We had our barbecue out and our chairs, and we hiked up to 3 falls. I had my twin grandsons with me. It was fabulous.
So you did say we. So do you have friends or
No,
family?
that
join you
is
a couple
my family. My youngest daughter, her husband, and my twin grandsons went on a 8-day trip with me. We went to Florida, and then we went to Alabama to some caverns, and then into the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, fun.
And then came back. And they come, if I'm, local in Texas, they'll come about every other weekend and spend time with me.
Oh, nice. So do you have a favorite campground that you've been to?
I really like Medina Lake. Now, it's not on the top of my favorites, but I do really like this one. And I love the state parks. I like Livingston State Park. I just go from place to place. Now, I've been in some of the higher dollar ones, which I adore, but nobody wants to pay $210 a night.
No.
They were really nice. I mean, stayed in one in Florida, and it was wonderful. We got out and waded in the ocean and in the RV park, which was super nice.
Oh, that is.
So, but there's just so many places to see.
Well, this week is National Park Week. Do you have a favorite national park?
Yeah, I do, and it's Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Okay. I love
first
Yellowstone.
National Park.
Yes, it is the first national park. And in the 90s, early 90s, my husband and I did full-time in RV for a while. Very small motorhome, no slide outs, nothing like I have now. It was more like tent camping almost.
Well, so since you have been on the road on your own, have you been back to Yellowstone?
I have not, but I intend on going back this year. Okay. And I want to go back to Utah. I love Utah. I love all the canyons, Bryce Canyon, and the monuments. I just love it there. It is beautiful.
Yeah, Zion.
Have
you been to Moab?
No, I have not been to the Arches, so that's on my list.
Very beautiful also.
I'm very excited about that. Now, that was some pretty heavy-duty hiking down those canyons in Bryce, but I did it.
Oh,
Going down was not bad. Coming back up was pretty rough.
Wow. Well, so how did you get your motorhome? What was your determining factor on which one to pick out? And tell us about your buying process.
Well, because I never really thought of getting a big motorhome, I was going to buy, like one of the 36-foot Class C's. Mm-hmm. And I was in a hurry because I closed really fast on my house. And I didn't want to move in with my children. I wanted my RV now. And so I went in, and the Class C I was looking at was right there, but my motorhome was sitting next to it with all the slide outs open. And I walked in there and said, hands down, I'll take it. I didn't even test drive it. Oh. It was a bad idea. Don't buy like I did. But, I've been real fortunate. It's been just an ideal motorhome. But it had everything I wanted, the big refrigerator, washer, dryer, plenty of room with all the slide outs. So that was my determining factors, like a Class C, and I walked in there and said, oh, can't do the Class C, can't do it. Can't do it.
So you are doing all the setup, all the takedown, all the driving, everything on your own.
I do it all.
So do you have kind of Cathy's rules for the road or some best practices you can share?
Oh, absolutely. Triple check when you first start doing everything, triple check everything. 3 times I've driven out with my steps out. I've kind of messed my steps up a little bit. I drove out one time with the slide out.
Oh, no.
Oh, I did. Fortunately, someone in a golf cart stopped me. Make sure your jacks are all the way up, and now I've got a mental checklist. So I do it, and I check it twice. And when I hook my car up, I check it 3 times because I'm terrified of losing my car.
Oh, those are good.
So, but, just go through that mental checklist and check it 2 or 3 times. Don't assume you did it because, you're going to miss something. The slide.
Well, so we have a lot of friends and family who boondock. Do you boondock at all?
I boondock a lot.
You do?
Oh, yes. Last year I boondocked a lot.
We don't.
Yes, I do. But, I have a built-in generator, and it's totally self-contained. The water holding tanks, hot water, everything works just like it does hooked up to the park. And I'm not afraid. You've got to be careful where you boondock.
Right.
You've got to be very careful, make sure you're safe. But there's a lot of places you can. I don't like parking lots like Walmart, but I've done it.
Yeah, you've done it.
If I'm very tired. But I like, most of the rest areas are extremely safe because the truckers spend the night there. And, and you can find a lot of, like Cracker Barrel. That's one that welcomes overnight RVers.
Oh, that's a good idea. Are you a member of Harvest Host? I see you like wine.
I do like, who doesn't like wine? But
Rosé
no,
all day.
and I am, I've been looking at that. I kind of backed off my memberships this year, or the last 2 years with COVID, but I'm going to join. I think it's going to be a blast.
So you're a member of Thousand Trails.
I'm a member of Thousand Trails, RPI, Encore, Passport America, and there's a couple other little ones in there.
But between all your memberships, that's how you keep your campground costs down.
That is how I keep my camp costs down. And then I've got the National Park Pass.
Yeah,
So, and they do give you a break on that as well, especially if you're a senior, which I am. And so
I think it's a lifetime pass. We'll put a link down at the bottom of this video, but I think it's a lifetime pass after 62 years old. So, Cathy, you are alone on the road. Do you ever get lonely?
No. Now, there are times where I'll feel if I'm away from my family for 4 or 5 months. Last year I was away from my family about 5.5 months, and I got lonely for my family. But it's hard to be lonely in a campground. If you're out walking and talking, there isn't a day that goes by you can't walk through these roads and paths and hiking trails
and meet someone new
and interesting and make great friends. So if you're lonely in this lifestyle, it's because you're not getting out of your RV. I try to never get lonely or get down but it's the lifestyle makes me so happy that it's really hard. And my children talk to me all the time on the phone, or they FaceTime me, so we see each other on videos. And so nope. I've had my times, and I'll have those blue days where I don't want to do this anymore. I don't, I'm tired. But, that's in any lifestyle. That's whether you're in a brick and mortar house or an apartment, or we all have those days where we feel a little sorry for ourselves for whatever reason. But I've had less of those in my RV than I've ever had in my life.
What about mishaps? We all like to hear those stories, RV mishaps. Have you had any mishaps?
Oh, plenty, plenty, plenty. Now, I'm a YouTube girl, so if something breaks in my motorhome, I'm going to try to fix it myself first. So, I was on a street in front of my daughter's house, and it was at an angle, and I put my jacks down. They wouldn't go back up.
Oh.
So I YouTubed it, and don't do this ever. So I went out and I got out my Allen wrenches. I released all the hydraulics on the jacks. And then I thought when I did that, they were just going to push up. No, ma'am. I got a big flat shovel. I got 3 of them up, and I still had to have the mobile RV guy come up and get the 4th one up. So I could have just let him do them all. But he taught me how to reset them mechanically. So I didn't have to go through all that. So it was well worth every penny he charged.
I think that's a good point. We've only needed one RV tech guy.
Correct.
And we've met some on the road. And I think, while they're there servicing, I think they have a little bit of a teacher spirit You know,
do.
and they help you out, not just on your problem, but like, hey, if you run into this,
Right.
watch, this is what you do. And so that's a really good tip. Like, if you're apprehensive about using an RV tech in general,
Right.
we've had good experience with them. It sounds like you do.
I have
a
as
lot
well.
of them share.
They all
lot of knowledge.
share.
Yeah.
You know, I only thought the only breaker panel I had was in the house, the breaker panel in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
No, there are 2 breakers under the steps and 2 on the generator. And so my RV guy said, well, go, you know, they're under the steps. So I'm out there on my yoga pad on the ground, and he goes, I called him and I said, I just can't reach those breakers. I'm on the ground. And he started laughing hysterically. Mm-hmm. He said, do you have this little round like key that looks like it's something you've never used? I said, yes. He goes, open your door and unlock those locks on your steps. And that step folds out and your breakers are right there. And I was on the ground 45 minutes. I didn't YouTube that. I should have. So I've had a lot of those. And I've had a lot of things I was able to repair myself. Mm-hmm. You know, when we had all that snow and freeze come, I had already used all my generator hours, so I knew that the oil was low, you know, and I YouTubed how to put oil in the generator. That's something I didn't know. So, you know, I filled my oil up and I had heat and, you know, TV through the freeze and snow.
Oh, it sounds like you were quite cozy.
So it was very nice.
We were too. We were in Florida.
Oh, very nice. Very good call.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I try to fix it myself. If I can't, then, you know, I've had it in the shop a few times. The only frustrating thing for me is the amount of time, you know, for a maybe 4-hour repair, and they have your RV for 7 days.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. It is your home.
It is your home, and, you know, forces me to move in with my children, with the cat, and, you know, so it's trying. Highly recommend, if you buy a used motorhome or fifth wheel, take out an extended warranty. I had the hydraulics go out on one of my slides. It was almost $4,000. I paid $100.
Oh.
So I pay $90 a month.
That's good information, yeah.
I almost dropped it because I was like, $90 a month. I could say when those hydraulics went out, it paid for that policy for 2 years. Okay. Another, you know, the first thing I had happen was I was at an RV park. I was at Colorado River, and they have high pressure water. And even though I had a water pressure regulator, I didn't have it on. I didn't put it on my hose. And I woke up and stepped in water. It burst my water lines.
Oh, okay. So that's one of the things that we've talked about on our channel and on our Instagram, is having a water pressure regulator. I think that's one of those boxes that's RV essential.
It's RV essential, along with a surge protector for the electrical pole. I plugged the surge protector in, and buy a good one. You know, if they've got one for $39, you don't want it. Mm-hmm. You know, you want a quality, heavy-duty surge protector. And I plug it in when I get in. I flip on the 50-amp breaker, or 30-amp if you have 30. And if all the lights are green, then I hook up. Mm-hmm. If they're not, then I move to another site.
Well, talking a little bit about gear, what is one of your RV like must-haves that you love? We already stole your tables. Thank you.
Oh, I love my little tables.
So what else do you like?
I have the Gazelle pop-up screen room. It's a 6-sided screen room. You can get about 5 people in there. I love it. It pops up in about 10 minutes and comes down in 10 minutes. No bugs get through. I have a rug for the floor. If it's cold out, you know, if it's in the 30s or 40s, then they have the windshields that go over the screens.
Oh, nice.
And I run a 110 cord and put a space heater in there. So it's another little outdoor space.
You've made your own, like, lanai or patio.
Lanai, patio.
Nice.
And it's one of the few products that fits back in the bag.
Really?
It fits back in the bag it came with, which amazed me.
We don't have the bags to these chairs anymore for that very reason.
I threw my bags away for the chairs. Yeah. They just get thrown under.
Yes.
You know, it was just one more thing to do.
One more thing to carry.
you know, that's my favorite. I love my outside grill. But my room, my outside grill, my rugs, chairs, tables.
Things that just make
anything that
cozier, yeah.
makes it cozier.
Well, Cathy, I just want to thank you for having a fireside chat with us and just your hospitality to our girls. And you taught us about deer corn.
Oh, yes. Yes, you got to have deer corn for the babies.
So any messages, if there is a single woman, do you mind if I ask how many years young you are?
I am 66 years young.
66 years young.
Now, in my head, I'm still like 25. My body tells me different. But
well, I think you are holding up pretty great. You could probably outrun me 7.5 miles.
66 and love every minute. And age is a number. Mm-hmm. Age is a number.
Do you have a Instagram or Facebook or any social media we could follow you on?
Sure. I have it's not up to date, but on Facebook, Unraveling RV Traveling, and then just Cathy Tan on Facebook. You can follow me there, and you'll see me with a picture of my motorhome or the ocean.
Right, and we'll put her links below. So is it Cathy with a K or
with a C?
With a C, okay. So we'll put her links below, and then you even have a boutique shop, right?
I do. I sell on Macari, and it's a way to subsidize my income. And
sure.
anyone, you know, especially single women and some men, but, you know, if you're widowed or, you know, you've thought about this and you're afraid, there's no reason to be afraid. There's nothing that you can't do if you decide that's what you want to do. You know, just get that determination up and don't be afraid.
Go out and do it.
Just go out and do it.
And they'll have bright days ahead also.
Oh, bright days ahead. You will not have any brighter than this lifestyle.
Well, thank you, Cathy. I really appreciate it.
And thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.